Hearty pumpkin soup for Halloween. William Hovey Smith, 2012. I'm Hovey Smith, the backyard sportsman, and this is Hearty pumpkin soup for Halloween. Yep, the Halloween lantern is lit, and it's now time to come up with another creation featuring pumpkin as well as various animal parts, and a little bit on the strange and bizarre side, as I usually do. Well, this time we are going to use animal hearts. Yep, these. These happen to come from 2 hogs I shot recently. So this is going in the soup. Oh. Now, usually I would go out and pick some graveyard mushrooms, but it has been so dry, they just aren't any this year. So I'm going to have to make do with canned mushrooms. And we're going to put some tomatoes in it, and some corn, as well as a little bit more venison. Now, the last time we did this, I was cooking bear paws. Bear paw pumpkin soup for Halloween. Yep. And I wound up with a product that did not have much meat content. So this year, we're going to do it a little bit differently and make a more meaty soup. Also, I ran into Scott Lyseth, a friend of mine and fellow outdoor cook, and he said, "Hovey, you know, we really ought to put out some stuff that tasted good." And the best I could come up with that bear paw pumpkin soup, that it was passable, edible, but I really wouldn't go out my way for it. Okay, so I'm going to try to cook up something that's really good this time. So hang in there with me, and we're going to get started with basic pumpkin busting. We have now cleared the deck for basic pumpkin busting, and we have our usual axe here. And by the way, A.G. Russell still catalogs this little hatchet. And if you don't have one, it's made by Fox. This is a really good hatchet. And I've used it for some serious work, like helping to chop up a huge pecan tree. And you can see videos about that on my YouTube channel. Good utilitarian tool. Okay, to proceed. Okay, got the stem off. First cut. Okay, a little bigger pumpkin than last time. Quarter it. Okay, seed going everywhere as usual. Well, lost that one. All right. Okay. So we're going to clean this out. We're actually going to recover and toast the seed this year, and proceed to boil this and take the meat and use that as the base of the soup. What I'm going to do with these seed is go ahead and pick them out like this, put them in boiling water, and we'll let those boil, take them out, drain them, put them on a flat pan, toast them with a little butter, and then we'll have some toasted, salted seeds. If you despair of picking out these seeds one by one, no, you don't have to do that. You just put them down on a cutting board like this, and you take a knife blade, and you just go ahead and work them out of this filamentous matter, like that. All right. And you just put them up in a pile on one side of your cutting board, and yeah, this goes pretty fast. At the end of this process, even from this small pumpkin, oh, we wound up with quite a few seed. That's probably about half a cup of seed there. These are hearts from wild hogs, and that's why I'm wearing gloves. And anytime you handle wild hog meat, you should be wearing gloves. This is about the size of the human heart, by the way. In life, this is covered by a sac, both in hogs and in people, which is removed during surgery. And that's why people who have had heart surgery are susceptible to some more infections, because the heart has lost this natural protection. So here we are. Yeah, protein mostly. It would have a cover of fat over the top. Now that's already been cut away, and you're looking at a large vein here. And we're going to expose the chambers of the heart, and there you have them. You see the thick muscles here, and of course these contract and beat, and that's what propels the blood through the veins in the body. The heart itself has very, very little fat. You see a little here, and more around the top. And the real interesting thing happens in these top chambers, like here. So if you're a would-be cardiologist, or think you want to be, all right, this is an advantage hunters have. This is something of an advantage, so certainly use it and study these animal parts. They're very, very similar. In fact, the valves from pig hearts are sometimes used to repair human hearts. That was a technology. I'm not sure if it's still being used today, but it certainly was used previously. So we'll go ahead and just dice this up. The reason I'm wearing rubber gloves is that wild hogs contain parasites. Some of these are bloodborne and can infect people and lead to very serious illnesses. This is why pork in particular must be well cooked, which we Southerners usually do. We usually cook our stuff to death anyway, and most especially pork. The veins I'm throwing away, and some of the other little parts here, like the valves, which are not particularly, well, they're a little bit chewy, quite frankly, so we'll eliminate those. All right. Okay. Now, this is a nice exposure of the two veins. Actually, a vein and an artery. Now, if you happen to be a practicing cardiologist and are dealing with people's hearts all day, I don't think you probably find this very inviting as a prospect for a meal. But for those of us who aren't into people's hearts every day, yeah, it's sort of an interesting thing to do. Using some more of the animal. It's good protein. It's edible. Okay. Alrighty. So the heart's cut up. I'm going to add some more meat to this. And this is a piece of deer backstrap. This is an interesting knife, very common in the Middle East. It's thin bladed on both top and bottom and sharpened on both edges. And I was curious as to how this knife was as a utilitarian piece, because most commonly in the Middle East, you might well only own one blade, and this is likely what it looked like, so it had to probably well serve for everything. As a straight cooking blade, I find it cuts vegetables somewhat well. This reinforcing ridge down the spine doesn't help any as a utilitarian kitchen tool, but does for general purpose use. It certainly adds strength and stiffness to the blade, so it doesn't bend. But it allows you to use a very thin edge and thin edges cut. And that's why these knives have always been very effective. The handle makes it somewhat awkward. It is doing the work, but not as good as many other knives I can think of. Could use it. Yeah. What I'm doing is, this is a piece of back strap, and I'm cutting the meat in sections away from the so-called silver skin. Progress is being made. We have taken the meat and we've gone ahead and browned it in a little olive oil. We have toasted the seed, which are here. Now, how these turn out is something like pine nuts, although they do not have the aftertaste of pine nuts. This year, pine nuts are very expensive indeed, and this would be a reasonable substitute in baking or a salad. We've opened our cans of corn here. We have our canned tomatoes, mushrooms ready, peppers ready, and we're going to cut up these few fresh tomatoes to give some texture. Now, about peeling the pumpkin. When the pumpkin is cooked, the peeling comes off very, very quickly indeed, as you see. You could do this with a butter knife. Whereas trying to peel them before is, well, that's sort of an arduous job. So you want to boil your pumpkins with the peeling on, and then it just almost slides off the flesh. So shortly, we're going to be putting this thing together. We're now going to assemble our hearty pumpkin soup for Halloween. So we have our mashed up pumpkins, all right? Now, if you really want to show that these are homemade, you can leave a few small fragments of peelings in there, so that'll give that impression. All right, our corn goes in. Okay, one can, 2 cans, tomatoes. Okay, mushrooms, all right, meat, okay, onions, and a little bell pepper, yeah. Touch of horseradish, about a level teaspoon. Okay. Now, we're going to cut up these 3 tomatoes. Now we're going to cut up these 2 peppers and stick them on the stove. With a little water added to it, that has the look of a thick, hearty soup indeed. So we're going to let it pressure cook for and see what happens. Well, how did we do? As it turns out, pretty good. The meat is just dead soft. It made for a thick, rich soup, a little on the sweet side, with a touch of heat on the aftertaste. So, yeah, this is a good product. So if you have some animal hearts and you don't really know what to do with them, and it's approaching Halloween, well, you know what? You can do a hearty pumpkin soup for Halloween. Hovey Smith, reminding you to hunt what you eat and eat what you hunt. Be legal, be ethical, be safe. Goodbye, God bless, and see you next time.
I'm best known as the author of Backyard Deer Hunting, and I have other books like Crossbow Hunting, Practical Bow Fishing, and my newest, Extreme Muzzleloading. The cooking time for this product was actually about 20 minutes in the pressure cooker. For more information about my books, blogs, videos, and radio show, Hovey's Outdoor Adventures, go to my website, www.hoveysmith.com. Now, if you'd like to really see bear paw pumpkin soup for Halloween, yeah, it's up on the William Hovey Smith YouTube channel. Good hunting and good eating from the outdoors. Goodbye and God bless.